Everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Bulletproof Dental Practice podcast. We're here just Craig and Pete today, and it's our new format, the format that's challenging everything about what I do, which is to be brief and not long-winded. 10-minute timer. Pete, you want to start that? We're just doing a 10-minute podcast. Please comment below if you like it or if you don't, because obviously there's a happy medium between our 10-minute and a 2.5-hour Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe Craig. Maybe we can go to 12 if you're really nice to me.
We'll see.
So today we're going to talk about a topic we got at our summit, and we're going to condense down two things. So one question was, this was question we got. People can text in at the summit, and so we weren't able to answer this at the summit in the marketing portion. But it was like it said, for multiple office owners, do you recommend one website per office, or websites for all offices, for all individual offices? And the second question we're going to talk about is a question we got. Would you rather have a beautiful stock photo of a woman smiling? This is about stock imagery or not having stock imagery. Would you rather have a beautiful stock photo of a woman smiling with great teeth on your website banner, or a before and after photo of your own patient who isn't very attractive or may not be a great quality photo? And so we're going to answer those two questions. Craig, you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's start that timer.
All right. Here it is.
I want to hear the TikTok. I like to hear that.
Wait, I'm going to let you. It's 10 minutes. Everyone knows the rules. And we're on. All right.
I like that sound.
So for multiple office owners, Craig, and you can talk on this because your website is fantastic. It performs fantastic, and you know a lot about this as well. I have multiple offices. I have one website, right? Because at the center, you want to treat everything like a spoke and a hub. And trying to drive traffic to individual assets is really hard, right? Because ranking depends on things like your domain authority, all the inbound links that you've created, all the activity you have, and it's too complicated to manage a bunch of what am I trying to say? Satellite websites that try and aggregate. That used to be a tactic back in the day from an SEO perspective. It is no longer. So we have one master website for our practices, and we drive all traffic there.
Quick question for you, because this comes into a branded house or house of brands conversation. By that, I mean, obviously if you have Atlanta Dental Spa, that's very easy to point to atlantadentalspa.com and have your 4 or 5 locations. But what about guys who have 5 practices and each one, it's the
great question. Yes. Yeah,
so let's talk about that.
If it's a different brand altogether,
like Blairsville, you're talking
right? Like the PPO practice you own. It has its own individual website. So great differentiating question, right? So if it's the same brand, multiple locations, one website. If you have a branded house of brands, then you would have an individual site, because they're all going to, the traffic driven to them is unique to that location.
And by the way, it's a really hard dynamic question to ask yourself before you start down your path. If you're going to own multiple practices, do you want a branded house, or do you want a house of brands? And there's such compelling ideas to both. I mean,
I'm going to save that for a whole. I'm going to write that down. That's a great.
No, that was on. That's on our pocket. That's on our topic list.
It's on the sheet.
Yeah.
So that pretty much clarifies it for that question. Again, a lot of this it's very complicated. It takes a lot of time and effort to run a successful website, as you know, Craig, as I know. It's not just it's a dynamic, living, breathing organism in your ecosystem. It's not a set it and forget it thing. And so having to maintain multiple websites is challenging. It's hard enough to do one. Again, just to reemphasize, if you have multiple locations, one brand, do one website. If you have multiple locations, different brands, have different websites for each one of those franchises. Let's move on to the second question. This is going to be a hard podcast to name, by the way, because it's different things. The question is, again, would you rather have a beautiful stock photo of someone that a picture you can buy on your website, or would you rather take one that isn't so attractive that actually is your collateral material? Craig?
Yeah, I just have such a visceral hatred for stock imagery. Maybe it's just because that was early in my career. That was what was being sold to me. And it just really bothered me. And then I started so my transition was I used to buy nice stock imagery, and then I'd actually get patients to get makeup and, in such a pose that you would think that my actual patients were stock imagery. So this really bothers me. I'd rather have a lower resolution, not as attractive patient that's mine and put on the bottom actual patient than have the stock image. And by the way, if the stock image is really good, it exists elsewhere. So people will see it and recognize it as stock pretty quickly.
So there's also, Craig, I want to say this is one of those areas where you and I completely agree. And we did the same kind of thing early on in our careers. We would, I
doll them up and the makeup and the hair.
Well, no, I'm saying I would put actually actual patient on there, right? So I have a hate for stock imagery, and not saying that I don't have it on some components of my website. I don't want to think that like there aren't things, micro pages where I don't really need to create.
Or videography. You use stock imagery, like you use stock video on your videography.
There's some, you're right. But like for your above the fold real estate on the front page of your website, like, okay, if you have shitty photos, like fine, put that up as a placeholder, but gosh dang it, make sure that the next time you have something that you want to present in your office, like make that the top of your to-do list in your life is to get a better picture for your website, right?
Or by the way, the question was asked very specifically, would you rather use a stock image or an actual patient that's not attractive of your work? There's a third option I want to challenge everybody for. And that option is just a picture of you and your team. Because there's nothing worse 100%. Than when you go to familydentistry.com and there's a person, a doctor in his scrubs, and he's a really good looking stock image doctor. And like, who the fuck is that guy? Like, it's not even you. I mean,
it almost creates that bad will or bad, what's the opposite?
It does. It's like a bait and switch. It's inauthentic.
People can tell, right? The consumers in 2020 are very sophisticated. They know a polished stock image versus one that's authentic. And I think given the authenticity of Instagram and YouTube and all the stuff that's going on in social media, I think that resonates with people.
And we're all getting scammed, by the way, Pete. Like, how many times are you like on an Instagram feed and there's a really cool product because it knows your behavioral targeting, and it's like, oh my god, I would love this product, and then you scroll down in the comments, it's like, oh, this is bullshit, it broke into a day or whatever. So the idea that people are getting scammed, people are getting more scammed now online than ever before. It's just there's an easy way to hack people, and it's going to have a paradoxical effect to put a really good looking of a doctor in scrubs, leaning over this clipboard on the homepage of your website. That's not you. I'd rather you, no matter what you look like, I'd rather have just a happy photo of you or a video of like why you love dentistry. That's even better. Like, just have someone, even if it's a side camera, and they're saying what you love about dentistry.
There's two things I want to say. You mentioned this earlier. So if that's a really good stock photo, it probably exists elsewhere out there and other people have used it. And there is something called a digital fingerprint, Craig, on things like this. And so this is kind of speculation or that Google sees this kind of thing because they can see that digital fingerprint, whether through alt images or whatever it is. You can't wash some of that out. It shows the ownership of basically that image. And if they see that kind of on hundreds of dental websites, they know that you hit the easy button and probably not authentic stuff, so I would caution you, because I think it plays into not only the optics of the consumer, but also from an SEO perspective, if that's not motivation enough. The other thing too, Craig, going back to what you just said about video and such. So I think, look, I talk about this all the time with some mastermind clients, is that, look, dentistry is a scary place. So our websites need to do three things. It needs to eliminate those barriers to entry as much as possible. So it needs to have a picture of the doctor, a video, would be great. A video of the team, pictures of the team, and pictures of your office or video tour, because those things are what people have anxiety about when they go to something new, right? And dentistry is already scary enough. So the more we can remove some of these barriers to entry and say, all right, that doctor doesn't look like he's going to hurt me. That team looks friendly and the office looks clean. Check, check, check. I'm calling for an appointment. Exactly. Versus look at the competition in your town. I guarantee you a lot of them don't have videos surrounding that. So
It's huge. I mean, the insecurity of the potential patient of like, how are you going to be? How are you going to act around them? I mean, dentistry is pretty scary for most people, and you're about to touch them and, and get right in their space. So, and even more so in this COVID-19 pandemic, people are going to like, does the office look clean? I mean, people are like going to make value judgments on how the office looks. In the past, they might've said like, oh yeah, Dr. Jones, he's really nice. He's 80 years old. They're cute. Hygienist is really nice. I've been going there for 30 years. They're definitely not the most up to date, but they're really nice.
The shag carpet in the operatory, probably no big deal. Probably no bugs in there.
Because before they used to think like it's just homey and cute. Now they're like, is it going to be safe? People are going to look for
the optics.
The optics are going to be huge now.
It is a new era that we're going to be in for sure. And so eliminating these variables of people that makes people scared, whether it's, are they going to hurt me or am I going to catch some weird, COVID-20 virus or whatever, right?
Oh, God forbid, bro. COVID-20 had to go there.
Well, you know what I'm trying to say, right?
I know, but it's true. It's more important now than ever.
It is. And the last thing I will say on this is, just make sure your website's showing the same thing, right? Up to date and putting all this stuff out there on your website as well. And social media, the more you can kind of familiarize people with the sterilization, the team, the personality.
Because the timer's about to run out. You don't have to have a videographer, right? So take a selfie, hold the video. It doesn't matter how the quality of your videography should not get in trouble. It's the authenticity of your message, because reality TV is number one right now. It's shaky camera angles. People are cool with non-professional video. So don't be insecure about your video, and talk to the patient while you're talking to that video. Don't make it about you and say, I got Panky, I got Dawson. I mean, those things are great, but here's what my commitment is. Here's why I love dentistry. Did it ring?
Did, bud.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Remember who you're talking to. I don't know about this 10-minute thing, bro.
Hey,
please comment below.
Everyone knows the rules, Greg. All right. Maybe we'll make some that's 12.
Well, let's get some feedback on this.
All right. Until we get some feedback, have a beautiful day, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Bulletproof Dental Practice podcast.
Take care, everyone.